So into the charts we go today, and we do see a drop on Bitcoin. Bitcoin again collapsing down after piercing 31,000 a few days ago, collapsing today only down to about the low 29,000 level. But I think the key here is noticing the level it's pulling back off of. So again, this is a level that I've talked about for a long time. This is the 30,500 level. That was kind of the last bastion of epic resistance when it comes to the charts. And so here we are. We see again the pullback today. Interestingly enough, if we take a look at the low of today and the high from this candle, they're almost virtually the same, right? So if we look at this, see this high here and this one right here, if we put a trend line right there and drag it across, look at that, right to that low. So again, this is just what I would refer to as a minor support level. It's only two little pivot tail tops right there, but nonetheless, on a day where you were already down decently on Bitcoin, it gave a reason for buyers to step in. Now ultimately, as I've said to you guys, I expect a lower move on this drop, down to at minimum just in the near term here, this 28,700 level. Remember, 28.7 was our resistance when we were pushing up. It was where we kept on hitting over and over again, finally breaking out. So again, that's a nice little pullback there on Bitcoin today. But again, as of now, minor in the scheme of things. Let's see if we head down to that 28,700 level, and then can we break below that level? Okay? All right, so again, the key here is understanding that you had signals in the charts, we had resistance points, all of these kind of coming to fruition. In addition, to me, when I look at it, I say to myself, okay, not only did we have resistance signals, for instance, a Doge right here, this was a candle formation, that's a bearish candle formation when you get a Doge at the highs here. We obviously knew the 30,500 level was resistance, but also you had this irrational exuberance. And again, I think I even made a comment last week talking about how you had crypto money as bullish last week on Bitcoin, on crypto as a whole, as we saw when Bitcoin was at 69,000. And I think I made the comment to you guys that, to me, that's a bearish divergence. To get crypto investors this bullish when we're actually only back to 30,000, that is not a good signal. That's not how bottoms are made. I've said that quite a bit over the last month or so in this recent move to the upside. So bottom line is right now, a little bit of a pullback on that. Support remains at 28,700. Secondary support will be around 26,700 right down here. And then obviously if we get through there, I've talked about the $25,000 level here, followed by this upsloping trend line. Now, if we do stage a turnaround and push through 30,500 and actually confirm above there, remember, you need to stay above there for 5 to 7 trading days. If that happens, then again, to me, that would tell me, okay, a low is probably in at 15.7, which was the low on Bitcoin going back to October, November of last year right here. All right, now again, as long as we stay below this, I mean, look at this. Talk about a full circle, right? I mean, here was your collapse right here, down, and then we've come full circle, but we're not even close to these recent highs here. So I think we have to be aware of that and kind of understand that, yes, it's been a great rally, but to me, and again, I've been around my fair share of bear market rallies, to me, this is not the signal of a new bull market starting in the overall system. So again, just to kind of keep it, and by the way, I could be wrong. That wouldn't be the first time, right? But for me at least, it's definitely not the signals of a normal bottoming play in any asset prices. All right. Let's go on to Ethereum real quick here. Ethereum pulling back a little bit. Now, Ethereum didn't quite reach my high end here of 2165 or so. I was kind of hoping it would get there, add to the short signal just a little bit there. But again, didn't quite get there. That's okay, pulling back a slight amount. For me, one of the big factors is getting back below the 2,000 level. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is ask yourself, did we confirm outside of the 2,000 break? And the answer is no, we never confirmed above that. So it's still an unconfirmed breakout above 2,000, which we know from historic perspective and looking at past signals, that could still be a fake out utilized by algorithms, by institutions, by big money to try to get people to jump on board. Think about how many people stopped out of their short at a break of 2,000 and potentially how many more people went long on a break of 2,000 thinking this was a new bull push. So it makes sense that until we see confirmation, it could be a kind of whipsaw fake out in the price. Now, if we come back in, get below 2,000, I think that's a pretty obvious signal it was a fake out. Then we have to break below this line, and back inside of this channel. All right, now let's go to alts. Now, there's been so much chatter about an alt season, bull season coming up because Bitcoin made a move, Ethereum made a move. But we've talked about this before, how the alts have really lagged substantially. Even a Solana, which has had a decent move to the upside, if you look at percentages in terms of, which coins made new highs. I mean, look at Ethereum. Way above these highs going back to earlier this year. If we look at Bitcoin, same thing, way above these highs from earlier this year. If we look at Solana's not even back to these highs from earlier this year. So even with this great move up in Solana, it's still lagging a massive amount. It does have resistance here at around 26.75. I've talked about that to you guys. Got close today to that before reversing. This level around 20.75 would be technical support. Taking a look at Matic, which has really struggled. Yes, it got a small uptick here, but again, down day today, still holding this upsloping trend line. Let me extend that out just a little bit here so we can kind of keep an eye on that. But again, folks, by no means does this chart compared to even Solana looks weak to me. And again, that is not a good sign for Matic, at least at this point. Now, could it all of a sudden gain strength? Yeah, it could. It absolutely could, but yeah, as of now, I don't see anything like that happening just yet, and I'll keep an eye on it for sure. Let's take a look at Cardano real quick. Go into the Cardano chart. Again, you can see where I was pointing that we needed to retrace to, and sure enough, look at today's candle. It is starting that trek back towards the retrace to the scene of the crime. Now, remember, this was a pivot high. This was a pivot point here. We broke above it. We actually did confirm this breakout above that line, which tells us that this level now becomes technical support on a retrace. Okay, you should expect some sort of bounce there off of that level on a retrace. Okay. Let's go to Avalanche real quick, see what we got on that chart. And again, I got lines here that I drew in. But again, same kind of thing. Actually, Avalanche has had a nice move up yesterday and today. We are getting close to a resistance point. Now, looks like it just went shy of this. But if we actually touch this 21.75 to 22, I actually would consider a short signal on Avalanche at that level. So again, that is going to be big resistance. The key is you don't want it to start to consolidate here. I really would have preferred if it went all the way up and tagged that line versus missing by a little bit. Maybe it still gets up there if we get a little bit of a bull push in the Avalanche chart here. All right, looking at Polkadot real quick, see what we got on that one. Polkadot, again, basically consolidating here above this level. Just a note, you haven't confirmed above this trend line here on Polkadot just yet, so just be aware of that. Again, doesn't mean it can't confirm, but it just means you have to be more skeptical with lack of confirmation in the chart. Okay? Let me see what else we have here on the radar as we kind of go through. Take a quick look at Doge. Doge is slowly floating up. I think part of the reason why, and this is kind of a weird one and can actually be used to trade, but Doge, the reason why it's floating up here is that Tesla reports earnings after the bell on Wednesday, and I would almost stake money on the fact that my guess is that's why you're seeing price float up, is buyers are hoping he says something about Dogecoin with Twitter and so forth right on that conference call. Whether or not he does, I don't know, probably won't, but that's why you're seeing that buying coming in there ahead of the conference call. If he doesn't say it, then chances are the stock drops or the crypto drops after with a lack of comment on Doge. Okay? Let me see what else we have here. Let's look at BNB, which actually was having a decent little move yesterday. It is pulling back. Just notice this trend line here, guys. You want to know why it's pulling back right where it is. Take a look. This pivot high to this pivot high, extend it right out, and look at what you get right there. So that gives you the reasoning behind why it's pulling back. There still could go up a little bit higher, but you definitely have resistance right there on the chart. Okay. Again, I don't have a whole lot else for you guys today. And again, tomorrow we can go through a few other cryptos and so forth. But right now, again, nice little pullback in Bitcoin today. Not a huge one, about 2.6% on the Bitcoin daily chart. But again, nice little pullback off of that 30,500 level. Now, again, the next question is what happens to Bitcoin in the next 24, 48 hours? Can it start to push back up towards 30,500, or does it continue down lower, testing that 28,700 level? You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. As always, thanks for being members, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.